Oh, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. RingsideReport.net, the online home for everything. Ringside Report, Ringside Report Network. We've got Ringside Report MMA. We've got Dave and Johnny Live. We've got Wrestling Uncensored. What's Fandom in Japan? Everything available on the official home, RingsideReport.net. Go there. If you are listening to us on the radio, you can always watch these shows on YouTube as well. YouTube.com/ringsidereport.net. Like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. We got a lot of pro wrestling to get to here over the next hour. I am Dave Simon. Johnny North is right here with me. Johnny North, one of the top professional wrestlers in all of Canada, in the whole world. My main man. We got wrestling to talk about here, Big Johnny. AEW, WWE. A lot going on in the world of professional wrestling. Starrcade going on Sunday night or tonight, depending on when you're listening to this show, when you're watching this show. Starrcade coming up this weekend in Duluth, Georgia. And we did a full Starrcade preview and a little review of the history of Starrcade on this week's episode of Dave and Johnny Live, which is exclusive to YouTube. You can watch it only on our YouTube channel at ringsidereport.net. So, Starrcade out of the way, we will get to stuff that's happening in AEW. What's their next pay-per-view? Do we know? When will it be? No idea, right? What are we building towards? Who knows?
TV after TV show.
We're building towards the next week of TV, I guess?
Well, we did, kind of.
We're going to get to AEW in a little bit. I want to start with Monday Night Raw and a little stuff that's happening in the WWE. Of course, Survivor Series went down last Sunday. If you missed our Survivor Series recap, watch-along show, you can go to the YouTube channel and watch that as well. We're moving forward here on Wrestling Uncensored. We've already recapped Survivor Series. We all liked the show. We gave it like a 7.5 out of 10 across the board. My brother was here. You were here, Big Johnny.
Well, you had to be kind of convinced to be a 7.
Well, I was giving it a 7, and then I was like, yeah, you know what? It was really good. 7.5. I like Survivor Series. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Considering I usually don't like Survivor Series, it was very good. Very surprising.
Yeah. The 5-on-5-on-5 match being as good as it was really made Survivor Series a much better pay-per-view. It helped the overall show because that one match that wasn't expected to be that great turned out to be one of the better matches on the card.
When you have a match that lasts pretty much half an hour, and for the most part is pretty much just nonstop action, that's pretty good. That's pretty hard to pull off. And
it was my match of the night.
They did it. They did a great job.
I think my brother picked that as match of the night too. You liked Adam Cole, Pete Dunne. They had a very good match. Roderick Strong, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura had a good one. Daniel Bryan and The Fiend had a decent match. Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio had a good match as long as that lasted about 7 minutes and change. It was a fun pay-per-view. The main event of Bayley, Becky, and Shayna was a little underwhelming. Shayna gets the win, but then Becky beats up on Shayna. It wasn't that great. It wasn't a great way to end the pay-per-view, but overall I thought the card was quite good. I thought it exceeded expectations in a lot of spots, and it was a good moment for the WWE. I don't think you can look at Survivor Series and say that it was a complete failure at all. I think it was a success.
Well, we talked about this on Dave and Johnny, that I felt the scoring going into the last match hurt the heat for the last match, because you already knew going into it that pretty much NXT was winning. And the best SmackDown could do was a tie, so it should have been tied going into the last match. WWE screwed that up.
Yeah, a lot of the build to this pay-per-view was NXT versus SmackDown versus Raw. Who's going to win the most matches? But before this show was over, we knew, NXT's winning the most matches because they're in the lead, and there's not enough matches for SmackDown or Raw to come back.
And it was ridiculous when the commentators were like, oh, we're going to come back. There's one match left. You can't come back. It's impossible. The best SmackDown could do was tie. It was dumb that Corey Graves said that.
Yeah, which, that's not a great selling point. That's not a great way to end the show. Will SmackDown tie or will NXT win? What about Raw? Raw's out of the running. Well, why are they in this match? because that's how it was booked. Well, couldn't they have planned it a little bit better? Why did NXT have to blow everybody out of the water, too? Like, it finished with NXT 4, SmackDown 2, Raw 1. Raw comes out the big losers this year. Last year, they won every match. This year, they won 1, and NXT was the big winners, winning 4.
Well, it set up the start of Raw very well with the town hall meeting they had at the beginning of the show.
Seth Rollins doing his little town hall, his little rah-rah speech, as it's being called. Seth Rollins in the middle of the ring with the whole Raw roster around him, including Randy Orton, which was surprising because Randy doesn't usually show up for stuff like that. You know, when there's a whole roster there, Randy's not always there.
No Becky, though.
Well, no, because Seth is saying mean things to everybody, and Becky can't be there because she's his girlfriend. Or fiance now, right?
Right, that's interesting.
In real
though.
life.
Everyone gets bashed except Becky. It's fun.
So Seth Rollins is in the ring, and he starts cutting a promo, and of course they're in Chicago, so they start chanting for CM Punk.
And he acknowledges it.
He acknowledges it, and he says, you know, I wish that CM Punk was here, but he'd rather sit at a desk and talk to Renee than come out here and fight me.
And he got in trouble for that, apparently.
Did he?
Apparently Vince was mad because they doesn't want him talking about Punk towards a match that is apparently right now not supposed to happen.
Yes, it does appear as though the CM Punk and Seth Rollins are kind of angling towards a match with each other. Like, it's not just Seth playing this game. Punk is also playing the game. He cut a promo on Seth Rollins on WWE Backstage 2 weeks ago, which, by the way, he did not appear on the show this week.
Because Triple H was on this week.
Ooh. I bet you the ratings were better with CM Punk.
Definitely, without question. There's no doubt.
I tuned in to the show when Punk was on. I didn't watch this week with Triple H. Who cares?
Yeah, I didn't care. Who cares about Triple H?
What's he going to say?
Boo.
You know, very corporate. He's going to toe the line. He's not going to say anything shocking. He's not going to say anything that's going to make Vince mad, right?
NXT is great.
Oh, Johnny North Triple H impression here. That's a first.
It's not as good as you, unfortunately.
I like yours. It's pretty good.
Yours is funnier.
You got to laugh more.
Yeah, I got no laugh in me.
Seth Rollins is so great. So Seth, you know, it's the Seth Rollins character that we've been seeing on Twitter coming out in real life right now. That's what it seems like to me, right? Seth Rollins in the middle of the ring, acting like he's the big boss of wrestling, acting like he's the leader of the locker room, acting like he's the best wrestler in the world, and everybody else needs to raise up to his standards. And that's really how Seth has portrayed himself on Twitter, and he's getting heat for it. People are not liking the Seth Rollins Twitter persona, whether it's a persona, whether it's the real Kobe Lopez behind Seth Rollins, you know, whatever. So fans start chanting, "You suck," at Seth Rollins because he's saying bad things about Punk. And then Seth tells Randy Orton that he was the weak link in the Survivor Series team and wants Randy to say something and step up. And Randy's like, whatever. Randy walks out. Seth then aims at Charlotte and says, "You were supposed to be the leader. You were the captain of Team Raw. What happened in Survivor Series? You lost. You're no good." And then Charlotte, she walks out. Seth is like, "AOP, you weren't even at Survivor Series. What's your problem? We don't need you now. Get out of here." I was like, what? Well, why AOP? And then Seth is like, "Rey Mysterio, you let Raw down. You couldn't get the job done. I beat Brock Lesnar all the time. You can't do it. What's your problem? It's so easy. What's the matter with you?" And then the whole Raw roster walks out. Everybody that's ringside, the whole crew, everybody walks out. Kevin Owens appears, hits a stunner on Seth Rollins, and stands tall, and the fans go wild for Kevin Owens.
I had nothing. There's nothing wrong I had with anything that Seth Rollins said, but the Rey Mysterio thing, that's where it's like, he's a bit of a heel when he says that, because he was a bit of a jerk when he kind of bashed Rey's son, because he said, like, you couldn't win even with your stupid son.
Yeah.
That was kind of rough. Like, everything else, he was kind of being fair. Like, look, you guys lost. You guys blew it. But the Rey thing was like, whoa, that's really rough. Like, you're going too far there.
Wasn't Seth on Team Raw?
And lost.
He also blew it.
Yeah. Well, he's not accountable to his own actions, apparently. Everyone else's actions, yes, they have to be held accountable, but not him.
Seth lost the Universal Championship to a SmackDown guy, and his belt that was red is now blue. Seth wants to talk about Raw pride. You lost the Raw belt to the other brand, dude. It's your fault Brock Lesnar's on Raw. Like, Seth is complaining like, oh, Brock's back and blah, blah, blah. In the storyline, it's Seth's fault because he lost to Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really make sense for Seth Rollins, the character, to come out. It's hypocritical, which I think lends itself to him being the heel that he is. It makes sense. But it's also like, well, Seth, it's very hypocritical for you to come out and be like, oh, Charlotte, you lost, and Randy, you were the weak link, and Rey Mysterio, da-da-da. It's like, well, Seth was the team captain of Team Raw, and he lost. They weren't winners. Seth is the reason why the Universal title that used to be red is now blue and is on SmackDown. Like, what's he talking about as far as being a leader for Raw? He's been a total jabroni for the Monday Night Raw brand.
I feel like we started off Raw with the total switch of having Seth Rollins as the #1 babyface on Raw, and now he passed it over to Kevin Owens with that stunner.
Yeah, with the promo, with the stunner, Seth Rollins looks like he turned heel. And then the main event, it was Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. And Kevin won by disqualification when the AOP showed up and started beating up on KO. And then Seth kind of challenged the AOP to fight him. Like, he wasn't clearly with them. And the AOP were like, no, we don't want to fight you. And then they leave the ring. And then Seth takes advantage and hits Kevin Owens, who was beaten up, with 2 curb stomps. And then he's like, we could make this place together if we were, make this place better together. But, you know, you're whatever, selfish. And Raw goes off the air.
Well, he also called him lazy, too, remember? During
Whatever.
the promo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of rough that he says that kind of stuff, but that's Seth Rollins' character. He should think he's better than everyone.
Seth wanted to fight the AOP. Seth challenged the AOP to step their game up in his promo. The AOP show up, they beat up Kevin Owens and cause a disqualification loss for Seth Rollins. Seth wants to fight them. They don't want to fight Seth. Seth seems like he turned heel, not only in the promo, but also in the post-match actions by attacking Kevin Owens after he was already down and hitting not just one of his finishers, but 2 to really drive home the injury and then yelling at him. So it seems like Seth turned heel, but is he joining up with the AOP? What's the story with Seth and the Authors of Pain?
Well, it seems like AOP just stepped up because Seth asked him to do it, and Seth was surprised because he wasn't expecting that. But I think in the end, they will form some sort of alliance. You could see a new Shield in all this.
They do dress the same.
They kind of look like Roman.
The AOP kind of dress like the Shield. Wouldn't that be funny if they just start calling that the Shield and then made you totally forget that the Shield was a 3-man group featuring Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose?
Maybe that's the plan.
It's not a bad plan, you know? Who's the Shield? Well, it was a 3-man group led by Seth Rollins. Okay, who are the other members? Akam and Razar. It wasn't Roman Reigns and that other guy? Oh, you mean John Moxley, that wrestler for AEW? No. He was never here. What are you talking about? That's very WWE, right? That's a very WWE thing to do. Kind of erase the past and give you this new thing and be like, no, this is what it's always been. What are you talking about?
Well, it's like the 4 Horsemen, too. The 4 Horsemen, it wasn't always just Flair, Arn, Tully, and Ole. I mean, it changed over the years.
As long as Flair was there, it was a 4 Horseman group.
Right?
Well,
I feel like there was
Flair
also,
and Arn.
when it was Benoit, Malenko, I think Shane Douglas, and Perry Saturn. I mean, that wasn't really the Horsemen, but it was kind of the Horsemen. They were called the Revolution.
Well, that's not the Horsemen.
Yeah, I know, but it was still
But
kind
you named a few guys that were Horsemen, right? Benoit was a Horseman.
Malenko was.
Malenko was a Horseman. A lot of guys were in the 4 Horsemen in WCW, right? Jeff Jarrett.
Too many, actually.
Mongo, brother. Remember the tape on his hands?
I remember.
When he did the 4,
Yeah, I remember. Sid was one, too.
Yeah, a lot of people have been 4 Horsemen. Maybe a lot of people will be Shield members by the end of it.
That's
Kurt
it.
Angle was a Shield member one time.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Right? It's like DX.
Unfortunately, that guy.
Different incarnations. So is this the new Shield? I'd be down with that. That's fine with me.
It gives Seth Rollins something to do, and it positions him in a better spot where he is. Because, he's not the #1 face anymore. I mean, you could try to push that, but people clearly don't like Seth Rollins, and you should run with how people are going instead of this is the way we want it. No, this is the way it should be instead, because this is what people want.
This is a massive shift for the Monday Night Raw brand of having Seth Rollins as not either the top heel or top babyface on the show.
He's still going to be a top star. You can't deny that, though.
Still going to be a top star, but he's not the number one on either side. And he has been for a very long time. And maybe the WWE are figuring out, Seth has been our top guy for a while, and the business isn't on fire. Like, the ratings aren't going crazy. Maybe we could try somebody else as a top guy and see if that works instead.
Kevin Owens is a good choice, I think.
Like, I don't understand this way that the WWE sticks with guys that clearly aren't lighting the wrestling business on fire. Like, why would you push these guys to the moon if they're not super over? Like, that's what I don't get about the WWE, and what I like about other wrestling companies is that the WWE pushes guys really hard that don't necessarily connect with the fans. It's very strange. Whereas other wrestling companies try to push guys that are connecting with the fans because, you want to give people what they want. Not like give people what you want them to want or what you want, and the fans just have to deal with it. But that seems to be how the WWE works, It's like, no. We don't care what you like. We don't care who's actually over with you. We're going to give you whatever we want. But I feel like right now with the WWE having competition with AEW, and with AEW showing you a different way of doing things where they're pushing guys that are actually over, and they're keeping, the main event, it's only people that are over. They're only going to push guys. They're only going to do big things with people that are connecting with the audience. And if the WWE doesn't get with that program, I feel like they're going to lose a lot of people, and that disconnect is already starting to happen. And I don't see why the WWE hasn't figured this out already, but I feel like maybe on Raw this week, it was a shift. We'll see what they do with Roman Reigns, because he's the other one where it's like, he's good and all, and he's a solid performer, but as your top guy, as your number one, I don't know if it's working, Not right now. It hasn't worked, right? It hasn't really connected. Roman hasn't really connected. Seth hasn't really connected to the level of a superstar that's, say, a Steve Austin or a Rock or a Shawn Michaels or a lot of guys that were in big spots that made sense in those spots. Like the WWE has a history of superstars like Hulk Hogan, like guys that made sense as the number one because they were very over. And now they've been in this rut in the past 15-ish years where they kind of give you whoever they want to give you, and it's not really who the most over person is on the roster.
Well, I think a lot of it has to go with the long-term planning. Because WWE thinks ahead, right?
Right.
And I think they thought ahead where it's like, well, I think maybe Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, that's going to be the main event of WrestleMania. They teased it back after when WrestleMania was over. So I think they were hoping that was going to happen. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen, and things have to change. And that's probably why they're hesitant to change, because they had an idea and they wanted to stick with it. But the fans are forcing them to kind of switch things up.
If you gave us Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, it's just not...
Well, they're figuring that out now. But I still think these guys are super over, though. You can't deny that. It's just maybe not in the positions they were in.
I think they're definitely over to a certain degree. Like, they have fans. They're known.
They get great reactions. It's just maybe not so positive reactions.
They're not as over as past number one guys in the WWE have been, though.
Well, you can say that for a lot of people. I don't know if John Cena was ever as over as Stone Cold Steve Austin was.
He was not, and he was another hand-picked guy by the WWE telling us this is your guy. It really started with Cena.
Batista, too. I mean, it wasn't just
Well, Cena and Batista got started at WrestleMania 21. They both won the world titles on the same night. It got started at the same time, John.
Right.
Okay? There was an era where kind of Triple H was there, too, and You could make an argument for Triple H not being the most over guy or not being the top guy in the company, despite the fact that they used him as the number one guy, right?
Well, they pushed him regardless, of course.
So basically, since Austin and Rock left, the WWE didn't go with who was your most popular guy, who was the most over with the crowd. They kind of went with who they felt was the most solid that they could depend on that will take them through the next 5 to 10 years.
And it worked.
Triple H was the guy, and then Cena was the guy, and now it seems like Roman and Seth are kind of together carrying that load.
They picked guys who were reliable. That's not a bad thing.
They picked them young,
Yeah.
and then they work them for a while. But, that's not how Austin became one of the biggest stars in the history of the wrestling business. And that's not how The Rock became one of the biggest stars in the history of the wrestling business. I mean, The Rock was one of these handpicked guys that they said, this is the guy, this is your babyface, love him. And the crowd was like, no, die, Rocky, die. He turned on the crowd. He decided to flip it, and it worked.
Right. He found himself.
Because he went with what the crowd was telling him he should be. And I feel like maybe now Seth Rollins is getting that message. This could be his The Rock moment, turning from Rocky Maivia into The Rock. If he can do it right, if he can perform, this is his spot to shine. This is his spot to say, look, Brock Lesnar's not around. I'm the top heel on Monday Night Raw. Look at me and pay attention to what I'm going to do next. Because as far as top heels on Raw, he's got competition. Drew McIntyre's out there. Randy Orton's out there. Brock Lesnar's the world champion.
Is Orton a face or a heel? I don't know.
Orton's a heel. Look at that fatal four-way on Raw. 2 baby faces, 2 heels. Ray and Ricochet, Drew and Randy.
Yeah, but he helped Ray win the title. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Why did he hit AJ Styles with an RKO?
I feel Randy...
AJ Styles, too, one of the top heels on Raw. Like, Seth has competition now. Baby faces? Not much there. There's Ray.
KO.
KO. Like, that was his competition.
Rusev.
Humberto and Rusev. Rusev, whose wife doesn't even like him.
Wow.
Humberto, who can't get a win.
Couldn't even wrestle, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Babyfaces on Raw, not much competition. And there's a heel champion. So to be a babyface on Raw, it's excellent news for Kevin Owens. For Seth Rollins, he was the top babyface. It wasn't really working, wasn't really connecting. People were starting to boo him. They turn him heel. Now all of a sudden, you got AJ Styles, you've got Drew McIntyre, you've got Randy potentially. Maybe he's going to turn face too. But, you got a lot of heels on Raw that you got to compete with for that top spot. And there's Brock Lesnar, who now doesn't really make sense to wrestle Seth Rollins. I mean, we've seen it so many times it didn't make sense anyways. But now that they're both heels, it really doesn't make sense.
I hope we see a drastic change, though, from Seth. Because that's what The Rock needed. It wasn't just a heel turn. It was The Rock kind of pretty much changed his character completely. Seth, I think, kind of needs to do that at this point.
Joining with the AOP wouldn't hurt.
It's a start.
It would look a lot like J&J Security, though.
That's a problem. That's why he's got to make it different. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be fresh.
I would like to see Seth Rollins make this his moment. He's a talented wrestler. He just hasn't been able to get that character over to the point where I see him as a megastar of the wrestling business. He's got a lot of the tools. I see him very much in the same vein of Dolph Ziggler. I think Ziggler and Seth are very similar. Seth just got a better push.
100% agree with that. Yes.
Great workers, promo and character-wise, never really connected.
Well, bad luck, too.
Bad luck here and there, but, Seth was a champion. He got hurt. He had to give up the title at one point, right? Ziggler, too. They've both had to give up the title due to injury. Ziggler had a concussion. Seth hurt his knee, right?
Well, Ziggler came back and then just lost right away, right? That's what happened.
But wasn't it like a quick match because he wasn't 100%?
He just lost kind of thing, but still, it was kind of too bad. It was his reign was terrible because of that. Seth at least had a long reign.
Right. So Seth Rollins, very similar to Dolph Ziggler, though, right? Like, good wrestlers, similar size, similar build, similar style. Seth got a better push. But the characters haven't fully connected. They haven't been over to a superstar level. And I'm hoping that this is Seth's opportunity to get there, to take the WWE to the new heights. You know, he's always bragging about, you know, being the leader in the WWE and being the best there is in the wrestling business and all this kind of stuff that he's saying on Twitter. Now is his time to deliver. Now is his time to show and prove that he is that guy, that he is the number one, that he deserves that spot. Be the heel that changes the WWE. Be something. Be more than what you have been in the past. That's something that's hard to do. Not many guys can do it. But once in a while, guys shift gears and something changes and they become a different performer. You look at Edge, I think is a perfect example of that. Edge was, you know, a guy who was very good, but the character never really connected. He had a good little tag team with Christian and Intercontinental Champion and here and there, but the character never really connected until he found that thing with Matt Hardy and Lita and the Rated R Superstar. Boom! He's a world champion, and it works, and he's a top-level draw. Seth Rollins needs to find his Rated R Superstar gimmick. He needs to find that next level, that next step in his character. He's got to find it within himself, and he's got to take it. He's got to take it right now. This is his shot. They turned him heel. They got to do something with him. And if they don't, well, that's fine. We can move on. We can do Kevin Owens and Brock Lesnar and whatever. But, you know, for all those Seth Rollins fans out there, this is his time to shine.
I think he's in good hands, though. He's got Paul Heyman running the ship on Raw. Paul Heyman's a very creative guy. I'm sure they can figure out something.
I think so, too. I think they're going to do something with Seth. I like this new direction. Rey Mysterio is the new United States champion. Rey beat Ricochet, Randy, and Drew McIntyre in a fatal four-way to get the match. He then beat AJ Styles. There was a ref bump. The OC attacked Rey. Randy Orton made the save for Rey Mysterio for some reason. He hit an RKO on AJ Styles. And then Rey got the pin, and Rey and Dominic, Rey's son, they celebrate after the match. Rey is the new U.S. champion. Loses to Brock, can't become WWE champion. Gets the next best thing the night after on Monday Night Raw.
Well, it's cool because his last U.S. title reign, he never really got to defend it, right? He got hurt right away and had to give it right back to Samoa Joe. So
right.
This is nice that he got this, but after coming short from winning the WWE title, it just feels like this is just like second place.
It's a consolation prize.
It's unfortunate.
The match was really good, though. Rey and AJ Styles, that's not something we've seen very often, and it's something I'd like to see again with a clean finish this time. Rematch city, right? I mean, AJ lost the title to Rey. You would think they'd wrestle at least one more time. Maybe they do it in a couple weeks at TLC. I mean, they only have 2 episodes of Raw coming up Monday night in Nashville, and then the week after in Greenville, South Carolina, before they're in Minneapolis for TLC. So I would do a rematch at TLC between Rey and AJ.
Well, if you want to sell out TLC and get people to watch, you just easily book it. AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, U.S. title, ladder match. That sells the pay-per-view itself.
Last pay-per-view of the year for the WWE. It is in Minnesota.
Well, Brock will not be there.
Oh, well, yeah, you knew where I was going.
Why
won't Brock be there?
Brock's on vacation till January.
Is he?
Yeah, it's confirmed now almost.
So we won't see Brock until the Rumble.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's it. We saw Brock at Survivor Series. Can you believe this guy? He's in Chicago on Sunday. He can't stay till Monday to appear on Raw?
Heck no. He's got to leave. Got to go hunting. It's almost done, I think, hunting.
Unbelievable. I thought he had to stop eating meat with the diverticulitis.
Doesn't mean you can't still hunt, though.
When is this title reign going to come to an end?
WrestleMania.
Not before that. Brock's going to come into WrestleMania as champion again. Brock's going to be in another big WrestleMania main event as WWE champion. Again. In 2020. 42-year-old Brock Lesnar still doing it.
It's like Jericho said, go Brock, go. Come on. He won Money in the Bank. You're building for the future. This is Brock. This is the era of Brock right now we're living in.
Well, Jericho's AEW champion, and he's 49, so I guess we have 7 to 8 years left of Brock.
He's the younger champion. Yeah, of course.
He's much younger.
I get it. It makes sense.
Over half a decade younger than the AEW World Champion, which is looked at as the young wrestling company. Kind of weird. So who's going to be the one to take it from Brock at WrestleMania? Will it be Kevin Owens?
I think Kevin Owens is a strong choice right now, but also maybe Keith Lee if they put Keith Lee in the Royal Rumble.
Too early.
Is it too early? I don't know about that.
Too early.
I think it'd be a cool Rumble surprise.
I think Rusev gets Brock at the Rumble, loses, and then Brock goes one-on-one with KO at WrestleMania, and KO wins.
Well, that'd be fantastic.
Or loses. Possibly loses, too.
I think he'd win, but we'll see.
That would be what I'd be aiming for at this point in time for the WWE. What else are you going to do?
Really not much else.
Unless...
The Undertaker comes back?
No. Come on.
Goldberg?
No. This is worse. You're going to love it, though.
No, Goldberg's good, actually. What are we talking about?
Who just turned babyface?
Who did just turn babyface?
Randy, baby. Randy Brock. Randy wanted Brock at WrestleMania. Maybe he's getting it.
Wow. Randy's going to win the Rumble again?
He doesn't have to win the Rumble to face Brock. Roman's going to win the Rumble again to face The Fiend.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Roman and The Fiend is WrestleMania happening. Like, that's totally on the cards.
That's SmackDown, though.
Yeah, that's the SmackDown title. The Raw title will be Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. Can't get bigger than that, John.
You think over Kevin, really? Wow.
Well, who's a bigger star in the WWE's eyes? It's going to be Randy's last chance to wrestle Brock. He's never wrestled Brock at WrestleMania. You know, they came up together. There's a long history between Brock and Randy. Randy never got his revenge from what Brock did to him at SummerSlam a couple years ago.
Wow.
Brock Randy works for WrestleMania, and I don't hate it. Because, I don't really see Kevin Owens going into WrestleMania and beating Brock. And I'd be mad if, that happened. If Brock beat Kevin Owens, I'd be upset. Brock Randy, it's like, if Randy wins, whatever. If Brock wins, whatever.
I think Randy would win because he lost to Brock last time.
He might. So you give Randy another run as WWE champion. It's bound to happen.
Pretty good. I'd be surprised to see it, though.
Really? Brock Randy? I mean, why did Randy just turn babyface? Why did Randy help Rey Mysterio beat AJ Styles? Why? What are they setting Randy up for?
Well, they're trying to balance it, obviously, the heels and faces on Raw.
Because there are very few babyfaces.
But it doesn't mean he's going to face Brock, though. I could easily see Seth and Randy, though, in the future.
I think Randy might face Brock.
Oh, I'd love to see it. But maybe that's also perhaps for the Rumble. Because we say Rusev, but maybe it'll be Randy in January.
It could be Randy, too. Maybe that's why, It's possible that it's Randy against Brock Lesnar. You know who it will not be against Brock Lesnar? Soul Train Jones, a.k.a. Virgil. He was on AEW this week, and we're going to get to AEW. It is Wrestling Uncensored. We're going to talk AEW Dynamite and everything that happened there. It looks like we know who Jericho will be defending his AEW title against next. When will that take place? We don't really know that. We'll take a look at December for AEW and what is happening this month, big holiday month in professional wrestling. It's Wrestling Uncensored. Stay with us. It's our last show November, first show December, depending on where you're listening to it. You notice that? How about
It's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah. In Montreal, the show's going to air. It'll be our last show of November. I kind of wanted to say, hey, it's December now, but it's not December for everybody. In Montreal, the show airs on Saturdays, so it'll be our last show of November in Montreal, but then in Peterborough, Ontario, the show airs on Sundays, so it'll be our first show of December, because Sunday is December 1st. Starcade, baby. Raw in Nashville, Greenville. They're going to do a double taping of Raw in Des Moines, Iowa on the 16th of December, because the 23rd of December is going to be recorded from Iowa.
There's no AEW on the 25th.
Well, it's Christmas, man. There's no AEW. Well, not that I know of. Maybe they're going to have a taped episode.
Yeah, I think
maybe they're
I
taping in
that.
Corpus Christi, Texas, because
Right.
they're in Champaign, Illinois, coming up on Wednesday on the 4th.
Uh-huh.
They're in Garland, Texas. They're going to be in Texas for 2 straight weeks. Garland, Texas on the 11th, and then Corpus Christi, Texas on the 18th. And they don't have a live show booked for the 25th, but maybe they're taping something on the 18th. I don't really know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And then they're in Jacksonville on New Year's Day. Like, they are doing a live show New Year's Day in Jacksonville, Florida, which is kind of their home base.
I'd say why not? I mean, it's not really a holiday. I know some people celebrate it, but I mean, come on.
New Year's Eve is the real holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, by New Year's Day night at 8 p.m., like, the holiday's over. You're basically January 2nd. It's over.
I agree with that, yeah, completely.
So, yeah, for sure, do a show live. I wonder what WWE's doing. Are they doing a New Year's Day show, too? Like, will NXT be live on New Year's Day? It won't be live on Christmas. I don't know what NXT's going to be on Christmas, but I wonder if they're doing a live show New Year's Day. AEW is in Jacksonville.
They might do a best of or something.
Yeah.
It's not really WWE in Montreal. It's WWE in Laval, but whatever.
Oh, whatever.
That's what they call it, right? They still said WWE.
Yeah, they're doing a house show in Montreal or Laval, but they're advertising it as Montreal. But Laval's like kind of a suburb. It's a separate city. It's further away from where I live. It's unfortunate. I'm in Montreal. I'm not a Lavaler.
You got to go far for that.
WWE's going to be at Madison Square Garden on Boxing Day on the 26th.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So they're at MSG on the 26th. They're in Toronto on the 28th. And then they're in Montreal on the 29th.
Hartford, 30th. Wow.
Hartford, Connecticut. Last Raw of the year in the home of WWE, Connecticut.
Stephanie, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Vince.
Whatever.
New Year's, greetings from Vince McMahon. 2 days before New Year's,
Big show, maybe.
December 30th. All right, well, that's the calendar coming up for the WWE and AEW this month. That's what you get as a bonus on the YouTube version of the show.
You don't read a commercial or anything? Or
All right, let's read a commercial.
Okay.
All right. How about that? So here at the Ringside Report Network, we've been producing many different podcasts. We've got Wrestling Uncensored, Dave and Johnny Live, What's Fandom in Japan. Stitcher offers you the Ringside Report Network or Ringside Report Universe, rather, the Ringside Report Network podcast. Not only that, the sponsorship with Stitcher, you have a special offer on the Stitcher Premium. So Stitcher Premium, you've got over 100,000 podcasts. You can listen to those on your iPhone, Android, tablet. So many different podcasts, commercial-free, like Joe Rogan, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, all sorts of stuff, plus Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and a lot more. It's $4.99 a month, $34.99 a year. You go to Stitcher.com/premium, and you sign up with the code RINGSIDE. You use the promo code RINGSIDE for a free month of Stitcher Premium. So it's $4.99 a month, $34.99 a year. But when you sign up right now using the promo code RINGSIDE at Stitcher.com/premium, you get a free month. It's promo code RINGSIDE.
It's a pretty good deal.
Free month.
Yeah.
It's $5 for a month of Stitcher. You get it for free. Good deal. Good deals. Hooking you up. Thank you, Stitcher. Thank you to the Ringside Report universe for supporting. Support Stitcher. Go to Stitcher.com/premium. Use the code RINGSIDE when you sign up. Get a free month.
Cool.
Shall we?
We should.
Let's do it. Let's get back to the show. All right, welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. RingsideReport.net is our website. Go there. Everything that we do, all the shows are available there. You can download the podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can listen to us on Google Play. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Not only is the show available as an audio form, but you can also watch us on video. If you're listening to us on the radio, check us out online at www.ringsidereport.net. And you could watch us. You could see myself and Johnny North. You could see the cool Suplex City shirt I'm wearing, representing for the Beast, the WWE Champion, Brock Lesnar.
Cool. Awesome. I'm not wearing anything on my shirt.
No, you're wearing a shirt, though.
Nothing.
You don't always wear a full shirt, John. A lot of times you're showing off them guns and your tank.
Yeah, you said no more tanks, though. So.
Well, because your skin is so pale and white, it kind of the lights bounce off your pale white skin, John.
I look holy, I guess. Too holy.
You need a tan, brother. You need a tan. You're looking like Sheamus right now. Sheamus not doing so good. He's hurt. He's got a neck injury.
I heard he was good to go. They just haven't come up with anything for him.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard he was hurt. I thought maybe that's why he's been gone for a while, so now he's all right?
I think he did the Edge and Christian podcast, and he said he was good to go.
Where's Sheamus? I thought the Edge and Christian podcast stopped. What are you talking about?
It was right before it stopped.
Oh, okay. Where's Sheamus? Where are the Usos? Where's Naomi?
Well, we saw Matt Hardy at least this week. He came back.
Yeah, what was that?
Well, he got squashed. What do you want?
Yeah, that was really weird.
Deleted.
Matt Hardy comes back, gets beat by Buddy Murphy after 3 knees to the face. It was kind of a weird finish.
Yeah, I don't get that. It was odd.
They were saying Matt Hardy was knocked unconscious. I don't think he was, really. Right?
But that's what they were selling for whatever reason.
It was strange, and then Aleister Black showed up, and then he beat up on Buddy Murphy a bit. So Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy have a feud absolutely no one cares about.
Well, I think it gives Aleister Black something to do because he's always got to pick a fight.
They're trying to get Aleister Black over with a guy in Buddy Murphy who's not over himself. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, they have no one else on Raw to feud with, so that's who he had to feud with. He's not that high in the card yet. He's got to work his way up.
I mean, how long has this Buddy Murphy thing been building? Like, who cares?
It's only been
You're building towards this thing that doesn't matter. It's been 2 weeks of this.
Yeah, it's not that long. Give it a good 4 or 5 weeks.
I don't even want to see this on TLC. Put it on the pre-show, maybe, but put it on Raw. Get it over with.
It might happen in 2 weeks.
Come on. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, all this stuff. But Matt Hardy showing up, he's got like his old school gear. He's got his old school music. When the music hit, I thought it was Jeff Hardy because it was Jeff's music. Matt doesn't use that music anymore.
Is Jeff cleared to wrestle?
No, Jeff's not wrestling, but I was like, what's that music? Where's Jeff Hardy? He can't be here. And then it was Matt, and he looked like original Matt from the 90s. And then he loses. Very strange. What are they doing with Matt Hardy? One of the most underused guys in all of the WWE.
So he's on Raw, though, right? That's the thing?
I don't think he's going to be on Raw regularly. I think he wrestles on house shows, and he's there, but he's not really used on TV because they have no idea what to do with him. So when he shows up, it's just like, here's generic Matt Hardy. You don't get broken Matt. You don't get anything cool. You're just going to get a generic old Matt because that's what you get because you're not doing anything special with him. If he's going out just a job to Buddy Murphy on TV, what's the point in doing any kind of fancy gimmick?
Well, let's remember his contract expires in March, so...
Does it?
Yeah.
Good. He'd be great in AEW.
Broken Matt, yes.
Yeah.
No, not 90s Matt.
He was one of the most popular stars in all of professional wrestling until he signed to the WWE.
But he's been injured a couple of times now. I wonder if he can still do that kind of stuff.
Please, it's not just injuries. That kind of stuff, a lot of that stuff was like promos and nonsense.
It was a lot of nonsense, but some of it was a lot of backyard wrestling. And
yeah, but if he's allowed to do his promos the way he wants to, if he's allowed to really do that character and he's not stifled by the WWE's lack of creative freedom, we've seen what he can do. The guy's very talented, and he was grossly underused and misused in this run with the WWE. It's a shame. Matt Hardy was the hottest thing in pro wrestling, and then he signed with the WWE, and nothing happened.
Oh, he had a great WrestleMania moment.
One moment.
And the
downhill from there.
And the match with Bray Wyatt. That was it.
Yeah, they let him do his thing one time, and it was great. And then they never did it again.
He's made a lot of money in the meantime. He's okay.
Sure, he's getting paid, but, you know, it's not great for what they're doing. The WWE could be using him better. He's a very talented guy, and they're not showing that to us. Right?
That's true.
Soul Train Jones, a.k.a. Virgil, a.k.a. Vincent, was on AEW TV this week for the thank you celebration for Le Champion Chris Jericho. Soul Train sloppily introduced Jericho, which was pretty good.
This was just pretty
crazy way to start off AEW TV, right? Well, start off a TV show. There's Virgil with a microphone, a live mic in the middle of the ring. WWE's not doing that.
They wouldn't really acknowledge Virgil whatsoever, I think.
But everybody knows Virgil, man. He's funny.
Well, AEW used him, I think, to kind of a cool reaction. I think people in AEW like to see old-time WCW wrestlers.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Virgil?
You saw Virgil. You saw DDP this week.
DDP. Bang. I loved it. I love seeing DDP. So Chris Jericho announced that he is selling his own brand of champagne, which you can pick up. Here's a free plug for Le Champion as a thank you because we love you so much, Chris Jericho, at littlebitofthebubbly.com. Sorry, I didn't say that correctly. littlebitofthebubbly.com. Jericho then welcomed the Inner Circle for the celebration. Sammy Guevara had a cardboard cutout of Jericho and him. Proud and Powerful had a whole gift basket for Jericho, saying Jericho's an official Boricua, and then they put the Puerto Rico bandana on Jericho. He looked hilarious wearing that bandana with his fancy jacket and his sunglasses. And then Jericho's like, where's Jake Hager? Where's Jake Hager? And then Hager shows up through the crowd with a goat because Jericho's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. So Hager's got a live goat who didn't look happy to be there. That was uncomfortable. I didn't like seeing that. That goat did not look like he wanted to come out to the ring.
It didn't last long, though.
It didn't work. Did not work. The goat bit did not work. But what did work was Jericho saying, what's in the box? There's a big giant box. What's in the box? And then they open the box and they reveal it's Jericho's dad, Ted Irvin, from the New York Rangers, former hockey player. And then Jericho's dad proceeds to cut a tremendous heel promo on the Chicago Blackhawks hockey team because they were in Chicago for AEW Dynamite, which I thought was really funny. And Jericho getting really excited. It's my dad, Ted Irvin! Like, that was great, too. Like, him seeing his dad, and he seemed legit surprised. I don't think he was. He probably knew he was there, but Jericho sold it so well. Like, Jericho takes these segments that if it were anybody else, people would be like, this is bad. What are we watching here? What kind of nonsense is this? But because Chris Jericho's there and he commits fully and he's just very good at being that guy, it works.
His line of, this is the greatest night of my life, that was hilarious that he said that. Because it was just like, this is pretty much, you've done this before. You've done this so many times. I mean, yes, your dad's there. It's very cool, but...
Come on, he's launching his own brand of champagne, Little Bit of the Bubbly. Did you order me some bottles, John?
I have not.
Well, what are you waiting for? I want to order some bubbly. I want to get some of the Jericho bubbly. I really am. We're going to drink it for the next AEW pay-per-view or something.
You didn't like Conor McGregor's whiskey that much.
I don't like whiskey, but I do like champagne. I'm a champagne guy.
Okay.
I'm not a whiskey guy, okay? I like champagne. Jericho then has the thank you from the TNT and AEW executives. It's a note that he wants the ring announcer, Justin Roberts, to read. Justin Roberts reads the thank you, but Jericho doesn't like the tone that he read it in, so then Jericho and the Inner Circle proceed to beat up on Justin Roberts. SCU, they make the save because, you know, they're good guys, and Scorpio Sky was wrestling Chris Jericho for the AEW title in the main event. Jericho winds up winning, puts the Lion Tamer. They're not calling it the Walls of Jericho because I think that's a WWE copyright. I noticed that. They called it the Lion Tamer, his like Boston Crab finishing maneuver. So Jericho puts that on Scorpio Sky to make him tap out and retain the AEW World title. Jake Hager and SCU both kind of got involved in the match. So you could say Jericho cheated to win, but he didn't really. I mean, he put his finisher on. Hager interfered, but so did SCU.
Yeah, but everyone was barred from ringside, so regardless, it's a controversial finish in a sense.
I suppose. Jericho winds up beating Scorpio Sky. I thought the match was good.
It was solid.
And then Jon Moxley shows up through the crowd and, like, looks at Jericho, and then Jericho looks at him. And they kind of did one of those crowd ring stare downs that Jon Moxley was so famous for in the WWE. It was very Dean Ambrose.
Well, he kind of teased coming down, but then he stopped.
Yeah.
Teased come down, stop. So, I mean, whatever.
Not a great way to end the show.
It just teases like, you're going to get this one day. Not today, though.
Is it something you want to see?
Whatever. I don't really care for it. I mean, their matches were meh in WWE, so I'm not looking forward to it. However, Jon Moxley, when it's hardcore matches, they are fun to watch in AEW. So as long as it's a hardcore match, I'll enjoy it. I don't know if Jericho will enjoy it.
Yeah, 49 years of age. Do you really want to be in a hardcore match with Jon Moxley right now?
He looked kind of soft too, Jericho, by the way. Like
Jericho looked great. What are you talking about?
Well, he's put on a bit of pounds, it looks like.
He's been celebrating his birthday.
Too much.
And his victory with a little bit of the bubbly. So I think Jericho and Moxley is not a big match that I'd like to see at like a big pay-per-view. You can do that on AEW Dynamite. Maybe you do it on New Year's Day in Jacksonville.
Or the cruise. Jericho's having that
or
cruise.
on the Jericho cruise, but that's not like a big match that I'm super excited for, and I don't see Jon Moxley taking the title from Jericho.
Really? I don't know. I think I could see Moxley winning it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He's super over. Why not?
Yeah. You might be right. Is this the time? Like, do you already want to take the title off Jericho? Like, I enjoy Jericho so much as Le Champion. I enjoy the whole inner circle bit. I don't think it's run its course. I think to get rid of it in a month would be premature.
It would be. I mean, I feel you could go with Jericho for years, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. Like, you could keep Jericho as champion for the next year. You could keep doing, like, they haven't done the Elite versus the Inner Circle yet.
Well, they're doing it next week.
Are they?
It's a 6-man tag next week.
Well, that's not all of the Elite. Who's in the 6-man tag?
It's going to be Dustin and the Bucks against Sammy and I think Pride and Powerful.
That's not it, man.
Oh, you want the whole, like, groups against each other?
Yes.
Isn't Hangman, like, out of the Elite now?
War Games, baby.
Well, there's no war games in this situation. But,
You do Cody, Kenny, and the Bucks
okay.
against Jericho, Proud and Powerful, and Jake Hager.
Not Sammy.
Or Sammy. Whatever.
I would
But
throw,
that's like, you got to do that big match eventually, and I think Jericho still has to be champion for it. Maybe not, but to me, Jericho and that whole group, they mean so much more because he is the champion of AEW. And without that title, it's kind of like, yeah, what do you care?
Well, I think you definitely need to do that on an episode of Dynamite because that's a lot of superstars in one match. So you really have to have others to pick up the slack for the rest of the show. Definitely don't do that for a pay-per-view. It's going to be one terrible pay-per-view if you do that.
Right. Because then the Bucks and Kenny are all in one match and they're not spread out. That's true. But on an episode of AEW Dynamite, I think it should happen.
Even still, I mean, you're going to have to make sure Pac wrestles probably a long match. Moxley wrestles a long match. You don't have a lot of star power when you think about an AEW. The Elite, they control a lot of it in terms of star power.
Well, they're trying to bring in some new people. We had Cody Rhodes doing an in-ring promo. He calls out MJF, and then the Blade and the Butcher show up through the ring and take Cody out. The Bunny, Allie, emerges, and apparently she brought these guys in, according to, what's the guy's name? Excalibur, who's one of the commentators on AEW. He seemed to know exactly who everybody was and why they were here. JR was as confused as I was. I was like, who are these guys? Why are they attacking Cody? Why do I care? I don't think that angle really worked. I'm not saying that these guys are a bad tag team or whatever. I know that they have fans. I've heard that they've wrestled a lot in Canada, and they're talented wrestlers. I don't know them. Do you know them?
I've heard of Braxton Sutter, who I believe
Braxton Sutter was in Impact, right?
Right.
And he's married to Allie?
Correct.
Okay. Who's the other guy? Which one's Braxton Sutter? Is he the Blade or the Butcher?
Yeah, I think he's the Blade. I don't know who the Butcher is. The Butcher's pretty much his tag partner, but...
Is Braxton Sutter Canadian?
I'm not sure.
Are either of them Canadian? I thought one of them might have been Canadian.
I thought Allie is she not?
Is Allie? Yeah, I think Allie's Canadian. Braxton Sutter's from Buffalo, New York.
Close.
His wife, Laura Dennis, Allie...
Oh, you're breaking kayfabe.
...is from Toronto, Ontario.
Wrestling Uncensored, living up to the name.
That's right. Laura Dennis, a.k.a. Allie, a.k.a. the Bunny Allie, is from Toronto. So she is Canadian. But her husband, the Blade, he's the Blade, a.k.a. Jesse Guillemette, a.k.a. Pepper Parks. I've heard of Pepper Parks.
CZW, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So he is not Canadian, but he's married to a Canadian, so close enough.
I'm from Buffalo. I mean,
he's the former Braxton Sutter. I'm trying to find out who the Butcher is, but I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea. I thought it was like Festus at first, but it's not Festus.
No, Festus is Carl Anderson.
Luke Gallows, but
Oh, yeah, Luke Gallows. Sorry. He's with Carl Anderson. He's his tag team partner. Yeah.
This team is kind of like that in a sense, the way that it's kind of positioned.
I thought they were kind of like a mix between a Wyatt family Dark Order.
Yeah, the bunny thing kind of is weird, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the bunny thing reminds me of Eric Rowan with the bunny, the black bunny mask. And they kind of come out looking like Dark Order, a little evil, you know? They kind of one of them looks like Grayson.
Well, I guess because they changed the Dark Order, right? Because now it's more of a cult.
Yeah.
Join the Dark Order now?
Whatever that is. I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny. I did see somebody say that they should make I saw it somewhere online. It's a good idea. They should have a faction with the Hangman. He should join them. You know, the Blade, the Butcher, the Hangman, the Bunny, and the villain, Marty Scurll, when he eventually appears in AEW. Not a bad idea. The villain, the Butcher, the Blade, the Bunny, the Hangman. That'd be cool. Cool, you know, the villain, you call it Villain Enterprises or whatever it is, you know?
Well, that's in ROH. I don't know if they
do
the same thing again in AEW.
No, but whatever.
I can see them feud with Hangman because Hangman's like a great face. I don't see him turning heel at this point.
What did Hangman do this week?
He lost to MJF. He lost the ring.
He lost the ring match to MJF. MJF beats Hangman. Wardlow did punch Hangman. He cheated to win MJF, right?
It was a rough crossroads they gave him, too.
Yeah, MJF delivered a crossroads on Hangman that didn't look like MJF knew how to do that move when he did it. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, I'm sure MJF was pretty nervous. This was like his first big-time match, really, when you think about it. He had, like a squash match, and then this was it.
Yeah, this was his most high-profile singles match in AEW. And he won. And he got the ring, the AEW Diamond Ring. Of course, there was a Battle Royal last week. Hangman and MJF were the final two participants, and now they wrestle each other this week, and MJF wins. So he wins the ring. Wardlow, who's MJF's big guy, helped him win. DDP showed up after to present the ring to MJF. He says he doesn't like what MJF has been doing recently, attacking Cody and all of that stuff, but he's the bigger man in more ways than one, right? DDP was kind of saying, I'm bigger than you, MJF. I'll congratulate you like a man. And then he extends his hand. So he did insult MJF. So MJF didn't like that. He put his gum in DDP's hand. And DDP's like, really? And he gets in his face. And then Wardlow steps in to defend MJF. And DDP tells Wardlow to step off because he's going to look stupid when a 63-year-old man kicks his ass, which I thought was like, whoa, DDP's going to get involved here. And also, it didn't make Wardlow look that good that DDP's like not afraid of you, dude. You're supposed to be this big scary guy, but 63-year-old DDP, he ain't scared. DDP and Wardlow then kind of grabbed each other like they were going to fight. Wardlow didn't beat up DDP in any kind of way, and they're immediately separated by security. Didn't make Wardlow look like the scariest guy there with DDP. It looked good when he hit MJF or hit Hangman, and all it took was one punch to end the match. But when he's there kind of grabbing with DDP, who's 63, and he just reminded you, yeah, Wardlow doesn't look like the monster they're making him out to be, especially in that suit.
Well, as long as this continues and DDP eventually puts over MJF, I think this is a great situation for him. This is going to help him a lot because DDP, as you can tell by that reaction, people still remember and love him a lot. So when MJF beats the crap out of him, he's going to get tons of heat for that.
Okay. All right.
Forget his backup.
Do you think they're going to do a beating on DDP?
Oh, yeah. They have to. They need to.
Oh, they did a beating on Justin Roberts this week. Why not DDP? DDP's getting involved. They did a beating on, well, they didn't do the beating on Cody Rhodes. It was the Blade and the Butcher. I guess maybe Cody and Dustin are going to team up and face these guys, or what?
Well, not next week.
Who's Cody's tag team partner?
I think Cody will probably just do a promo and that's it. Maybe they'll set up a match for the following week.
Because Cody's got beef now with these guys, and now he's got beef with MJF. Like, Cody's all over the place.
Cody's a bit of a mess right now.
What about Kenny?
Kenny had a good match against Pac.
Very good match, and he beat Pac finally. Back on the winning track. This was one of the biggest wins for Kenny Omega so far in AEW, right? Like, maybe his most high-profile victory.
Well, you say back on track, but really it's just 1-1 now, their series, right? So now they have to wrestle again to settle it.
But Kenny's been losing a lot of matches.
It's nice that he won, sure, but Hangman came back too and won against Pac. This isn't anything new. Hangman also lost the last match, so if Kenny wins the rubber match, then I'll get on your Kenny's back train.
Do you think that's what they're doing with Kenny next, like Kenny and Pac wrestling again, or what would you do with Kenny Omega going forward?
I definitely do that match again, because it doesn't seem like they're in the title picture. It seems like that's reserved for Moxley.
Yeah. I like Kenny's match on Dark this week against Jack Evans. That was good.
It's fantastic. It just goes to show you how incredible Jack Evans is, and he hasn't unfortunately been able to show it yet on Dynamite.
Yeah, but if you watched AEW Dark, the main event this week was Kenny Omega defending his AAA championship against Jack Evans. Fantastic match that Kenny won. Quickly, just taking a look at NXT this week. Finn Balor got a big ol' win when he beat Tommaso Ciampa clean. And then Adam Cole showed up, and Finn Balor beat him up too. So it looks like we're heading towards Finn Balor versus Adam Cole, and that's the main storyline going on in NXT.
I'm just glad we got a finish, because I feel like with that kind of match, I felt like we were going to get a non-finish. We get a lot of non-finishes in NXT, so I'm glad Finn got the win and established, I'm not with you, Adam Cole. Just I'll use you when I want to.
Yeah, he's on his own. He's not a babyface. He's not a heel. He's kind of in between, because he'll attack the heel Adam Cole. He'll attack the babyface Tommaso Ciampa. He's Finn Balor. He doesn't care.
Well, I think he wants to be the NXT champion eventually.
I think he will be. I think they're gonna do that.
Really? Well, I'd be surprised, but
why not? What is this all leading to? If Finn doesn't become NXT champion, what do they do with Finn?
It's a good question.
They brought him to NXT for a reason.
To be the champ, though?
Adam Cole's had his run. It's enough.
Well, I think Adam Cole's still going to have a good run with it for a bit. He's not going to lose right away.
I think Finn's going to beat him the next time he gets a chance. The next big match, the next whatever, takeover, January, Finn's champion.
Well, that's still a long ways away.
It's a month.
When you have weekly
couple months
shows, it's rough.
All right, Johnny North. You don't have weekly shows, but we could see you in the ring pretty regularly. When can people see you? When's your next match?
Well, I'm not wrestling, but I'll be appearing December 14th for Torture Chamber at their next show in Anjou, 9001 Parkway Boulevard. Bell time is 7:30 p.m., and tickets are $15.
All right, and you'll be making sure that your boy Bjork the Viking takes that title away from that dastardly Drew Onyx, right?
Well, he's wrestling Don Boulanger on this show. He's not getting his title match yet.
Wait, you're not on this card?
I'm just in his corner.
You're in his corner. You're not wrestling, and you don't have to attack Drew Onyx?
There's no Drew Onyx this time.
Oh, we're just taking out Don Boulanger?
That's it, his boy.
The Dominator.
Well, not really Dominator, but he'll try to be one.
He's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good guy.
You think so?
I like Don Boulanger.
You're on the bad side.
He's a babyface.
You're a heel.
I'm a heel because I'm on Team Johnny.
You're on Team Dom, it seems. What the heck?
All right. Follow Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis. Follow him on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You could follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. Go to our YouTube channel, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and when you do, click that bell when you subscribe so you get notifications every time that we're on. If you're listening to this show on your radio or on iTunes or on however you get your podcast or your radio, you can watch this show on our YouTube channel. More info for that at www.ringsidereport.net. Big thanks to everybody helping us out on the radio side, and a big thanks to you for listening and watching. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored.